It's not very often that you experience most of the weather spectrum over a 10-day period. Unless, of course, you've been living in the UK for the last like 2 or 3 years, in which case you're probably quite used to it. But for sure, I wasn't expecting to experience that 3,500 miles away. It turns out though, from a photography point of view, it was kind of a blessing. During my time in New York, I was able to experience the city in a range of different climates. You know, from the bright, almost like summer-like day, to the rain, the fog, and then right at the end of my trip, a snowstorm. Being able to photograph New York with, you know, a dusting of snow was kind of a dream. It's probably something that you would actually plan a trip purposefully to do. So in time for the snow, I already had a roll of Cinestill 800T in my 35mm camera. I was using the Canon EOS 500 and a 50mm 1.8, you know, the nifty 50, I'll always swear by that. If you've seen my work with Cinestill 800T before, then you'll know that I love to shoot this stock in the daylight rather than the nighttime, which is probably what it's most famous for. But I felt as though the snowy scenes in Manhattan were perfectly matched with Cinestill's cooler tones and the halation of the city lights, of the car lights, the reflections on the ground. It all really tied in quite nicely. When it came to my digital camera, I prioritized more street photography style photos that I wouldn't normally take. It's not usually my style. And I was using the 28 to 70mm lens for these, which is also a lens that I don't generally shoot with. But then when it came to my film photography, it was more architecture, more of the actual streets rather than the people in the streets. So alongside my Canon EOS 500 and my Sony a7 III, I also had my Fuji GA645, which is a point and shoot medium format camera that I've spoken about on this channel a couple of times before. It's great, you know, to take around for street photography, for things that you don't want to be carrying a big Mamiya or whatever. It's a really great camera to use. Although it is still heavy, it's nowhere near as heavy as a big Mamiya or a Pentax. So within the Fuji GA645, I had a roll of Lomography Metropolis. And this is a film that I have shot once before. I've documented it on the channel. I shot it back in London. And I was actually really impressed with the warmth of the film stock the first time round. It was a film stock that I'd heard a lot about, but not actually heard a lot of good stuff about. And I was really pleasantly surprised at how many shots I got out of that roll that I really enjoyed. The film has a really vintage character, probably because of the warmth that it has. And that's something that, you know, I don't think you can find with a lot of other film stocks. Shooting it in New York snow, I was equally as impressed as I was the first time using it. I finished off the roll of Metropolis on a day where most of the snow had cleared. It was quite a bright day, so you had a lot of shadows and a lot of patches of bright light, which is quite different to the conditions in which I first shot Metropolis. That being said, it still maintained a lot of the characteristics that I liked about it. In the shadows in particular, I love the way that brighter colours, warmer colours such as reds and oranges are really punchy, really bright and really vibrant in this stock. Some of my favourite photos from the whole trip are amongst these 2 rolls of film that I shot. So I'm going to run through the photos and let you guys make up your mind for yourselves. Let me know what you think in the comments. Do you prefer the Metropolis? Do you prefer the Cinestill? And if you guys haven't already checked out the first 2 videos in my New York series, then I will link those in the description for you to check out. But I won't say much more. We're going to roll through the photos. Thank you guys so much for watching.